phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
What's happening with Texas football? Texas football in the beginning of the 2021 college football season was looking promising for the start of the Sarkeesian era. And when Casey Thompson became the quarterback one for the Longhorns, that offense that Steve Sarkeesian is known for looked like a Sarkeesian offense with him, as they became one of the best offenses right then and there when he became the quarterback. And Texas was a real threat for the Big 12 and a team that could possibly contend for a playoff spot if they could play their cards right. Fast forward to current day, the script has been completely flipped at Texas, as that team that was 4-1 is now 4-5. This is B. Kelly back again with another banger video, and in today's video, y'all, I am going to be talking about what's happening to Texas. The Texas Longhorns heading into the 2021 college football season were ranked in the top 25 in the AP preseason poll, coming in at number 21. And for their first game of the season, they played a top 25 opponent in Louisiana. Now, Louisiana is a team from the Sun Belt Conference, but this is a team that is one of the better Sun Belt Conference teams, and a team that was returning some of the most starting production in college football. Some even had Texas on upset watch, but Texas would prove some doubters wrong this week, as they would win 38-18 in some dominating fashion. Texas would then rise to the number 15 team in the nation after their dominating win over top 25 Louisiana. In their next game, they would travel down to Fayetteville as they would take on Arkansas. And this was a game that people were expecting Texas to win, as Arkansas was coming off one of their best seasons in a while. But Arkansas was still viewed as a team that wasn't going to beat Texas. But Texas would get upset this game, and Texas just straight up looked flat. And Arkansas shocked a lot of people, as Arkansas was the hungrier team that day. And Arkansas dominated Texas all four quarters, winning the game 40-21. After losing this game in an embarrassing fashion, losing by 19 total points, Texas would drop out of the AP poll completely. Despite losing this game in an embarrassing fashion, the season, it wasn't over by any means. I mean, this was only a 1-1 team, a team that still had a full schedule ahead of itself, a team that hasn't even started Big 12 conference play. They still had potential to reach the goals as a team that they wanted to in the first season under Sark. And they would do that by first having a new starting quarterback in Casey Thompson instead of Hudson Card. With the change of Casey Thompson to be the new starting quarterback, Texas had new life in their offense and their team, as they would go on to defeat Rice 58-0, Texas Tech 70-35, and TCU 32-27. The team that was embarrassed by Arkansas and bumped out of the top 25 poll was now back in the top 25 poll as the 21st ranked team and 4-1 heading into their biggest rivalry of the season versus Oklahoma. Things were looking great versus Oklahoma in the first half, as Texas was on fire and Texas seemed unstoppable. At halftime, it was 38-20. This is a game where you would not really see the team that's up by 18 lose. The thing is, Texas would blow the game. Yes, Texas would end up giving up 35 total points in the second half and only score 10. They would lose this game 55-48. And the worst thing is, Texas gave up 25 points in the fourth quarter while only scoring 7. This single loss for Texas would seem to be a downfall spiral for the Longhorns this season. You may be wondering why, and this is why. Texas, they're currently 4-5. You remember when I said they started off 4-1? Yes. They would lose 4 straight games. And after they lost to OU, they lost 3 straight games. Versus Oklahoma State. Similar to the OU game, Texas held a lead and even had an opportunity to really put this game out of reach early on if they would have not thrown a pick six, as Oklahoma State's offense literally could not do anything versus Texas at all. But that was a huge momentum shift, and it gave Oklahoma State the momentum it seemed like for the rest of the game. At halftime in that game, Texas was up by a score of 17-13. Now you may be saying, okay, a 17-13 lead, that's really nothing at all. Which, in all honesty, it's really not. But if you saw that game, Oklahoma State was literally doing nothing on offense, and their only touchdown in the first half was literally a pick six. To add insult to injury for Texas even more in that game, Texas going into the fourth quarter was up 24-16. It was the fourth quarter. This is a winnable game for Texas, and Texas would fall apart and give up 16 unanswered points to Oklahoma State and lose 32-24. In their next game, they took on Baylor in Waco, and they were controlling this game. They had many opportunities to be ahead by quite a bit early on and throughout this entire game, but in the fourth quarter, just like Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, Texas fell apart. Heading in, they were up 21-17, and they were stopping Baylor quite a bit. And their offense, even though making a lot of mistakes, weren't at a disadvantage of when they were losing a game. But in that fourth quarter, Texas scored 3 points, and Baylor scored 14. And Texas lost this game 31-24. Falling to 4-4. After this loss to Baylor, Texas had a lot of drama throughout the week before they would play Iowa State. First, it was their special teams coach girlfriend. Just gonna say she's a girlfriend. Not gonna talk about her career at all because I'm not about to face demonetization when her pet/performing monkey would attack a child on Halloween. Okay, in all seriousness, that monkey incident didn't really affect Texas at all as a team, but this next incident did. On Wednesday, heading into Iowa State, Texas would have an altercation in their practice. It involved wide receiver and starter Joshua Moore with head coach Steve Sarkeesian. And according to Burnt Orange Nation, it wasn't just Steve Sarkeesian that he had an altercation with that week, as Joshua Moore would have an altercation in that same practice with not only Sark, but other members of the coaching staff during that practice. For their game versus Iowa State in Ames, Iowa, Texas would not look good at all, and they lost that game 30-7. After leading the game 7-3 going into half, they would give up a total of 27 unanswered points in the second half. Going back to the topic of Joshua Moore, he would enter the transfer portal after this loss to Iowa State. He is the third player to enter the portal from Texas during the season, as he follows Tyler Owens and Terrence Cook. Texas football right now, honestly, it looks depressing. They started off promising 4-1. They looked like they were going to dominate OU. Then they blew that lead, and they've looked worse every week in some way, as they've blown 4 straight halftime leads. Their conference record is 2-4, and they currently sit below 500 at 4-5. Each week, it looks like the energy goes down, and each week, it looks like the chemistry goes down. And not only that, in my opinion, I feel like they feel like their season is slowly ending. Their season is dwindling with each loss they have, as people expect more at Texas, especially in this first year under Sark. You know, they want that 9-3 season. They want to at least try to make it to the Big 12 championship game, try to get a New Year's Six Bowl berth, but it just hasn't turned out that way, especially in these last 4 games. In their next 3 games, the Texas Longhorns will take on Kansas, West Virginia, and Kansas State. To make a bowl berth, they have to win 2 of the games to have 6 wins. I think they're going to be 7-5 and win out. What do you guys think their final record will be? And before y'all head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe for more videos. B. Kelly, out.